Why does people pleasing hurt so much? Um, and it does, if you really think about it, or if I really think about it. Um, I almost feel compelled to caveat and say like, not like I'm like deeply like wounded and upset about it. Just literally, there's some pain involved. But that might be the same thing. I'm just trying to protect my ego in some way. But we'll put that aside. Um, I think people pleasing hurts so much because the anxiety it generates, the amount of like, I don't even want to say just mental energy because that is a component of it. There is mental focus on thinking about, what do I do about this thing or being upset about this thing or whatever. You can kind of ruminate in that. Um, so there is a component of that. Um, but I think it's more the anxiety. It's that feeling of just like, it just hurts. And that's why I say it's not an emotional thing so much. It's almost more of a physical sensation. Like I hate that feeling of knowing that I may be upsetting somebody or I may be doing the wrong thing and it's net negative in some way. Like I don't like being wrong. I don't like fucking it up. I spend a lot of time thinking about ways to think of it the right way, and do it the right way. I hope that's true, right? I think for a lot of people pleasers, maybe not all of them. I'm sure not all of them. I'm sure there's all different kinds, but I think for many of us, it's that. Like we mean well. We think it's better. Like let's err on the side of doing the right thing because doing the right thing is good, right? We mean well and all that. And that causes that anxiety because it sucks if we fuck that up. We really, really don't want to do that. Um, but there's the other side of the coin, and that's what I have to entertain. That's what I have to consider, right? To have people pleasing not hurt as much, maybe, or to make sure that I'm being logical in it. Because if it does hurt that much, then I should fix it. Then maybe I should be quote unquote people pleasing in that moment. Maybe I'm doing the right thing. Um, but in those other instances, in the other instances where I shouldn't be people pleasing as much, right? In those instances, I have to look at it and kind of understand, like what did I miss here? Why did I think this was necessary, right? What was I actually weighing out? Where was I off? So that it doesn't bother me so much because there's a chance that I'm creating it in my own head. I have to entertain the possibility of that. That's what it actually is happening here. I have to entertain like what would it look like if it was that, and how would I distinguish that? Um, and I think that's the answer to people pleasing is the truth, which seems simple, and it is simple. But if you care about not hurting people, then you'd want to know the truth. You wouldn't want to take this almost in a weird way easier route, even though it is painful. It's easier because you always default to like, well, I'm just doing the right thing. I'm a good person, so it's okay. You kind of cop out, you punt on making the tough decisions in instances where like, no, 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 it's obvious that's net negative for me, but I'm too scared to do what the right thing is for me, or sometimes even my family or somebody else, and that's not okay. That's not okay. So it's important that we realize that and that there's a risk of that. So that should help kind of even out the equation to where, yeah, doing the right thing is still important. But let's not just always assume if it's anywhere in that vein that it's the right thing to do. That it's definitely the option that we should be taking. Let's assume maybe we misdiagnosed it. That's not actually the right thing to do, and kind of take that approach to it. And at least make sure you get both sides and you assess it as best you can, and then you make the decision you make. Maybe you still decide to do the quote unquote people pleasing thing. Maybe you realize it's not worth it. But I don't think it could hurt to do that extra analysis.